Do you have a minute to talk about science-based programming? Um, so I made a post about this on IG, and I thought I'd make a video kind of touching on it a little here. Here's the deal. A study is not a prescription. Let me say that a second time. A study is not a prescription. So let's just take a hypothetical study here, and the study says that 3 sets of 3 at 80% of your 1 rep max is the optimal workout to build strength. And let's just say it's a squat workout, right? So once a week you're going to come in, you're going to squat 3 by 3 at 80%. That's not a prescription. You don't have to read that study and then just go do 3 by 3 at 80%. What you're really supposed to take away from this is the concept, right? The concept is far more important than, well, what did they do in the study? Well, in the study, they did squats, and they did 3 reps per set, and that was at 80% of their 1 rep max. Well, what's more important than that? Well, what's more important than that is the takeaway, and the takeaway isn't that there's something magical about sets of 3. I mean, sets of 3 are magical. If you click your heels together and say Ripito while doing a set of 3, he doesn't appear and grant you a wish. It has to be sets of 5. Anyways, the point being here, though, is that you look at this and you say, okay, well, roughly 10 reps, that's the total of the workout. Let's quibble, it's 9. Roughly 10 reps at 80% is a sufficient stimulus to increase your strength, but it also isn't excessive to the point where now you're too fatigued, right? So if you come back next week and you find out that you're weaker, either you didn't do enough to stimulate it, or you did too much and you're still fucking fried, right? We've all done that. We've all done that thing where you actually maxed out, like you really did max out, as in like I couldn't have put another pound on that one. And like the next week you came in and you're just like, I'm still fried. Like I can't deadlift again. Like I just don't have it, We've all done that. We've all done that thing where you actually hit a max deadlift and then you're like, man, I just don't feel right. Like a week later, you don't have any pop. You don't have that same drive. You just feel tired, but it's not like you're really sore, but you just can't flip the gears, right? You can't hit the switch. Yeah, because that's a real thing. So the point being that, you look at this study, and this is just an example, you're going to take away from it that, hey, the real point here is that at 80%, roughly 10 reps is a sufficient stimulus to increase your strength without being excessively fatigued. Now, you might look at this and say to yourself, well, why not 2 sets of 5? And that's right. Why not 2 sets of 5? Dan John's Easy Strength, 2 sets of 5. Well, why does that work? Oh, because it's 2 sets of 5 at roughly 80%-ish. And so you're in a situation where it isn't an excessive amount of fatigue. You're not beating yourself into the ground. You're not doing 10 sets of 5. And you're also getting a sufficient stimulus where you actually get stronger. 2 sets of 5. Oh, it's kind of like, I'll give credit to Dan for this. He made his rule of 10 thing, right? And I think he's probably actually kind of ballpark right on that. For a lot of people, 2 sets of 5 or 3 sets of 3 or whatever, how you want to break it up, maybe it's 5 sets of 2, is a sufficient stimulus, right, where you're going to get stronger, but you're not beaten to the ground. Now, that isn't to say that you can't do more. Just because this is a sufficient stimulus and is not too much doesn't mean that somehow suddenly if you did 3 sets of 5, well, that would be, that's excessive. No, because there's obviously a range in these things. 2 sets of 5 is good. 3 sets of 5, maybe it's too much for you, but maybe it's better for someone else because they handle a little more volume than you do. 4 sets of 5, you might still feel good. 5 sets of 5, hey, especially if you're not particularly strong, you're not going to be beat up by 5 sets of 5, okay? And when I say that, I don't mean it in an insulting way, but there's a big difference between doing 5 sets of 5 with 225 versus you're a 1,000-pound squatter and now you're doing 5 sets of 5 with 800 pounds. Not going to be a good workout for you. That's going to fry you. The stronger you get, the less you can train because it's such demand on your system. No one's doing 5 sets of 5 with 80% when they squat 1,000 pounds. Like, think about doing 800 pounds for 25 reps. That would be absurd. You would just, gosh, I can only imagine how much that must hurt. I can't even fathom that personally because I've never had 800 pounds on my back for 25 reps. So the takeaway, right, is that you look at these things, you have to think about the stimulus. How much stimulus do you need? And then also stopping before you hit the point where you just drill yourself into the ground. That's what you should take away from these studies. Now, can we all sit down and agree on something here? I hope so. 2 sets of 5 is probably good. maybe for certain people, up to 5 sets of 5 is still good. But at some point, we're going too far. So when you're doing 20 sets of 5, and your workout takes 4 hours for you to get through it because you're just destroying yourself, 20 sets of 5 is probably way too much. Like there is an extreme level at the other end here where it's like that is way too much. However, if you really came in and hit a hard 5-rep max, and it really was a 5-rep max, you could not have got that 6th rep, maybe 1 set's enough, because you put enough stimulus in. Something to think about. I'm not telling you that this is back to what I was saying about it. It's not a prescription. Nothing I'm saying is a prescription either. You're going to have to play with this. You're going to have to try it out. You're going to have to see what works for you. Me personally, I like to do this thing. I'm going to share my secret program with you. It's my secret program. I'll choose a weight, and I'll do maybe 5 to 8 singles with that weight. Why 5 to 8? Because it's enough reps that I feel really warm. I feel like really warmed up. I feel comfortable with it. And at the same time, it's not to the point where I'm fatigued. Like if I did 20 singles, I'd be like, what the hell? Like that's way too much. Okay, so 5 to 8 singles. And then I do 1 set where I do as many reps as I can. Okay, so let's just say I'm going to take 185 pounds, and I'll do 5 singles, and I'm like, yep, I feel warmed up now. Well, there's no reason for me to do 6, 7, and 8. After 5 good singles, I'm like, yep, okay, I feel really warm. I feel good. My knees feel good. Hips feel good. Okay. Then I unrack the bar, and I do as many reps as I possibly can. And that's why you have safety pins in your power rack, or you have safety arms on your half rack, whatever you have. And you go ahead and you take that 1 set to failure. Well, do I need to do a 2nd set to failure? Not really. I don't. Maybe you do. But I'll tell you what, if I take a set of squats to failure and I'm at the point where I hit the pins and can't get it back up, yeah, I'm not doing a 2nd set of that. Okay, that's my secret program. It's really secretive. No one's ever done this before, right? Except for like literally everyone has done this. But my secret to it is the fact that I do 5 to 8 singles to warm up for it, right? I like to feel that weight and know that I feel confident, like, hey, like I got this. And then I'm going to take it for as many reps as I can. Okay, so that might be like 12 reps, right? So I did 5 singles, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to take it for as many reps as I can in 1 set. I get 12 reps, and I say, okay, that's pretty good. Next week, because I got 12 reps, that's, probably could put another 25 to 30 pounds on it next week. So when I come back, maybe I'll do, 215, and I'll do 5 singles and maybe 8 singles because maybe I need a little more warm up, and then I do 1 set of as many reps as I can with 215, and then based off of that, I'll decide what I want to do next week. This is all about you taking a concept and experimenting with it. This is not a prescription, and that's what you need to take away from studies too. So if you find a study that says XYZ, don't just copy that. Look at it and critically evaluate it. This seems to be like it was enough work that they made progress, but it wasn't so much work that they fried themselves. And does it really matter how you split those 10 reps up? Probably not. If you're interested in bar velocity, like you want to make sure that you have a high average bar velocity, maybe you do 10 singles. Maybe you do 5 sets of 2. If you're more interested in like hypertrophy and you're not really concerned about, I don't care about the bar velocity, maybe you do 2 sets of 5. Okay, you're not going to make 10 reps at 80% unless you're lying about your 80%. But that's a better way of looking at things. Evaluate it, see what you can take away from the research. Don't follow it as a prescription, and now use the concept and apply it yourself. And so that's how I'm trying to help people with this. I really am. I want to help people so that they can look at these things and apply them. Change how you think. Don't just let people tell you what to think or tell you what to do. Learn the concept and then use it effectively, and you should experiment and find what works best for you. But the study is not a bad starting point. 10 reps, okay, and maybe you find that you do better with 15. Rock on. But the starting point was for you to say, hey, roughly 10 reps at 80%. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. If that makes sense, give me a like. If it doesn't make sense, comment below and I'll try to explain it in a different way.